My name is William Orgertrice. I am a data engineer at Cargill. I've been a data engineer for the past 7 years now, and I've been using Airflow for the past 5 or 6. So I just wanted to share with you all a few simple steps of how to improve your DAGs for data processing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into it with a quick overview of what we're going to be discussing. This is our agenda. So I'm going to be doing the introduction, why DAG optimization matters, right? And then we're going to go into the 5 simple steps to enhance your DAGs. And then we're going to talk about the future of engineering and do a Q&A, right? So have some fun things coming up for you guys. All right. A little bit more about me. So, like I said in the beginning, I'm a data engineer at Cargill, which is one of the largest privately held companies in the United States. I've been featured in major news publications such as Business Insider. Cargill also featured me on their website. Forbes BOK, Shout Out Atlanta, Built In, which is another job board as well. And all of this is for data engineering. Right, and I graduated from Georgia State University. I'm a Atlanta native. All right, and just a little bit more about Cargill in itself. Right, I know not that many people know too much about it. It's a silent giant. It's a very large organization. It's a food company, right, with over 160 plus thousand employees. It's operating in 70 different countries, and it's been around for over 160 years. So I'm fortunate to be able to work for such a large organization. There's a lot of opportunities, a lot of growth for Cargill. Okay. And this also came from like their website, so it's fully available if you want to learn more about Cargill or take a picture of it. It's a lot of opportunities at Cargill, right? And a quick fun fact about Cargill is I looked this up. I did not know that they owned the catalog that consisted of Who Let the Dogs Out, right? It's a food company, but for some reason they had the catalog for Who Let the Dogs Out. I thought that was really interesting. But they no longer own it from what I'm seeing. This is an old article. But very funny that they used to invest into other things that were not related to just their business in itself, right? So some of the partners that we have at Cargill will be like a Delta. If we took a Delta flight over here, Chick-fil-A, Coca-Cola is one of our big partners. So we work with a lot of big businesses, solving a lot of big problems. Right, so I've been a data engineer for several years, and I was speaking with one of the engineering leads at MongoDB. He gave me a really great quote that I wanted to share with you all, is that the technologies change, but the data stays the same. And he said, okay, well, there's so many different types of engineers that you can possibly be in technology, right? You can have people who are into front end, you can have back end, you can have people who are into AI and ML, and all these different technologies change based off of the company that you go to. Well, data is going to be either unstructured, semi-structured, or structured. So if you can understand how to move it from one place to the other, you're going to be in really good shape. All right. And quick quote about Airflow is that Airflow can orchestrate both ETL and ELT pipelines. Okay. So ETL being extract, transform, and load, and ELT being extract, load, and transform. Which I have you guys can take a picture of it. It's a lot of information, but this is just the differences between ETL and ELT, right? I mean, ELT being a little bit faster than ETL being for more like legacy systems, you're still moving that data from one place to the other, but you're doing it in different ways, right? And for different business use cases, because neither one of them are wrong for either or, right? But it just depends on what your business needs at that time. So not going to go through all of it, but I just wanted to share some information with you all. Okay. Now, why does DAG optimization matter? The reason why it matters is because if you have a poorly designed DAG or directed acyclic graph, this leads to Oh, it is not showing. Okay, so it leads to failures, right? It can lead to failures. It'll lead to bottlenecks, right? And it'll lead to maintenance headaches. These are all things that you want to avoid. And this is why it's important. All right. And I'm going to be sharing these steps with you. And this quote says, strategy essentially is just putting you in the position to win, right? Because everybody's coming together as a team for one specific goal, to be able to have the best return on investment for an organization, right? We want to be able to grow. We want to be able to do well. Nobody wants to fail, right? Everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses, and we all come together for a common goal. All right. So step one is to modularize your DAGs, right? So modularizing your DAGs, splitting them up into logical parts, right? And a better way to organize and reuse your code. I mean, why would you want to have to rewrite something several different times, put them into a function? You guys can take a picture of this and share it out. But these are some things that I realize is that if you can bring things into several different steps, everything has their strengths and weaknesses. A good function should be able to do one thing really good, right? You can use something called task groups for your modular scripts, and your modular scripts are just a good way to be able to store a set of functions and variables, right, to meet that shared goal, that shared purpose. Okay, and then also you should go without saying, right? You should use naming conventions and have meaningful names for your DAGs. Really, any piece of code that you're going to be putting into production, right? You're working with big systems, solving big problems. You want to make sure that people understand what you're writing and that it works. And that if you leave an organization, that people after you can also read your code and be able to optimize on that as well. All right, and then parameterize. You should not put your code, your secrets into your Notion board. You should not put it into your Slack channel. It should be put into a separate place. And Airflow actually allows for you to be able to put configs and secrets and connections into the UI as well. So that's something that I really love about the Airflow UI. All right. Another thing is that also everything that you do in development should mirror what you do in production, right? So you shouldn't have to say, oh, well, I have to change this every single time whenever we're deploying something into production. That's not the right way to do it. It's not the best practices. The best practice should be that you have parameters and then you just change the parameters within your configs. Okay. And this is just a quick. And see, this picture works, right? This picture shows up, but this is just a quick example of what using parameters would look like within your DAGs. Okay. This step number 3, right, is to improve monitoring and alerting, right? So whether you're in AWS, whether you are in GCP, Azure, everybody has their own logging and monitoring. All right. And like I said, the technology is always going to change, right? You want to make sure that, Airflow is an orchestration tool that you can use. But then you also want to make sure that, hey, if something is running slower, you're not meeting your SLAs, you're not meeting your surface level agreements, if you're not actually moving the data from one place to the other, right? If something breaks in the pipeline, you want to know about it. All right. There should be no reason why you don't know what's going on. You want to be able to track your metadata. You want to be able to track if something is long running, and then also if something breaks. Another thing is another piece is the configuring your on failure callback for custom alerts, right? You want to get an email, whether that's to yourself and or to a PDL or a distribution list. Okay. And then you can use different technologies like I have here, like PagerDuty. So this is when you can use Slack, right, to send yourself an email or a message. And then also Datadog, right? You have several different organizations that have monitoring for data. Step number 4, right, is to optimize your task execution. All right, so one thing I wanted to bring up is that, you know, when you're writing Python code, you can write Java you have the ability to be able to write Java within Airflow, but with that, you can use different libraries, right? You can combine small tasks into one bigger task. You can use several other technologies like S3 buckets to be able to store results instead of having to keep reprocessing them. Right, which makes things slower. And then next I have a few libraries that you can potentially use within your Python code, within your DAGs, like Apache Spark. Right, you can use DBT, Pandas, Snowflake. All right, so several different libraries and technologies that you can use in order to help you to improve your task optimization. And step 5, all right? You want to document and test everything, all right? I know not everybody wants to test. I hear that often, but it's very important to be able to write your unit test. And then this is where doc_MD comes from that quiz that we had earlier, which helps you to document your DAGs, and also it can document your tasks as well. And you can directly show within the Airflow UI. All right, and it is very important to be able to write your unit tests. All right, and to write out clear README files, your markdown README files. Okay. And this is just a quick example of how to use docs_MD. If you want to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn, very active on there. You can use this QR code, or you can type onto LinkedIn, William Orgertrice, and I will pop up. Looking forward to connecting with everyone. Thank you so much for coming in person, and also people who are watching virtually. Really do appreciate you all.